to welcome to the 11th session of UDAY. Thank you everyone for joining. Let's have somebody new start off with Navkar Mantra today. I see. I was gonna say anybody who has the video open, but it's all of the regulars. I'm gonna pick Somya Bhai. Navkar Mantra, please for us.
जय जयेंद्र.
Thank you.
नमो रियंताणम, नमो सिद्धाणम, नमो आर्याणम, नमो वज्जायणम, नमो लोवे सवसाहुणम, ऐसो पंचन मुक्कारो सव्व पाव पणासणो मंगलाणम च सर्वसिंह परमम हवे मंगल. नमो रियंताणम, नमो सिद्धाणम, नमो आर्याणम, नमो वज्जायणम, नमो लोवे सवसाहुणम, ऐसो पंचन मुक्कारो सव्व पाव पणासणो मंगलाणम च सर्वसिंह परमम हवे मंगल. नमो रियंताणम, नमो सिद्धाणम, नमो आर्याणम, नमो वज्जायणम, नमो लोवे सवसाणम, ऐसो पंचनमुकारो सव पापणासो मंगलाणम च सर्वसिंह परमम हवे मंगल. जय जय हिंद.
Yeah. Neha Bhabi, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and share my screen here. We'll do our Mangalacharan. Last time the sound was a little bit low, so if you cannot hear me, please let me know. All right. So today we will be doing Anupreksha on Lokswaroop Bhavna, and for that we will take the blessings of our gurus. Om Rim Shri Acharya Yashavijay Suri Namaha. Om Rim Shri Acharya Hem Ratna Suri Namaha. Om Rim Shri Acharya Shri Chandra Suri Namaha. Vinaya Vibhavaya Shashvatam Samavghat Samaye Jineya Paripurata Dehama Asumaganuka Vividha Kriya Gun Gauravageham Vinaya Vibhavaya Shashvatam. When a Keval Gnani in their last moments of life do a Kriya called Kevli Samudghat, they expand their entire body to touch each and every space point of the universe. This happens almost every 6 months at a minimum, because almost every 6 months at least one Jeev becomes Siddh. So in those moments, the entire universe, along with all the Jeevs and Ajeev particles and their qualities, are a temple worthy of worship. O wise one, contemplate on the entire eternal space of the universe. We'll do a recap of Nirjana Bhavna first before we dive into Lokswaroop Bhavna. So quick recap, Nirjara is the burning or shedding of karmas. Samvar was the stopping of the inflow of karmas. Nirjara is the burning, shedding off of the existing karmas. And what does that? What is the process? Tapaschaha, tapasaha nirjaracha. Excuse me. So from Tattvar Sutra, austerities wear off karma as well as inhibit them. And what defines samyak tapasya or real tapasya is the overcoming of desires with the prerequisite of samvar. So samvar we have defined and talked about several times. Swa stands for samyakpa, vrat, avirati, akashay, and apramad. And the result of this type of tapasya should be samta, or the feeling of peace or equanimity within. So that is samyak tapasya. And last time we had Harsh who shared his experience, and he gave us this nice diagram of how external and internal taps are related. He talked about his experience of how he went from external to internal and then internal back to external. It's both ways. It works like a feedback loop. So all of the external tapasya can lead to the internal tapasya and should lead to the internal tapasya, and then the internal tapasya leads to the overcoming of desires and therefore external tapasya. So it becomes sahaj, it becomes natural, and that is the whole goal of doing tap. And just recently, right after our session on Nirjara, Labdi Vallabh Maharaj Sahib's Vachna was very apt, and thank you, Harsh, for sending us notes regularly. So appreciate that. His two main points there were that when one does an external tapasya, one should control the instincts. And with that prerequisite, when one does internal tapasya, it should lead to self-realization. The external tapasya does not lead to internal tap, which does not lead to any internal tap would be worthless. And internal tapasya that does not take one towards one's true nature would also be worthless. So it's straightforward, I hope. Does anyone have any questions on this before we jump into a long ride of the universe? Okay, no questions. All right, great. Okay. So buckle up, and we are going to take a round of the universe very quickly in 8 minutes. We don't have much time. So this is the 3D diagram of the universe as given to us by Keli Bhagwant in our Shastras. And this 3D diagram is, very complicated, has lots of details, and, we're not going to go into all of the details here, but we'll touch upon some of the important points specifically to get the Lokswaroop Bhavna. Here is another diagram. This is 2D, which has all of the layers of the universe. So there are several layers, and the middle section that you see here, this middle line here, is the Trasnari. Let me show you another diagram so this becomes a little bit simpler. So this middle pink column that you see in the middle is called the Trasnari. That is where all of the jeeves that can move. So, all of the jeeves from Bendriya all the way to Panchendriya exist in this Trasnari. And in the rest of the universe, so the black portion is the shape of the universe. And I could not help but see the coincidence of how infinity is depicted. I was trying to find where the origin is of the symbol of infinity, and could not find a clear explanation of where it originated. If you just, instead of looking at it horizontally, if you look at it vertically, it looks like the shape of what the universe is according to our Shastras. So anyway, so the shape, the black portion that you see here is where the Lokakash is. That is where space is, Lokakash. And beyond that is Alokakash. So only within Lokakash can living beings exist. And outside of that, that is also, the universe, but there is no life existing outside of that. So it's only within this black portion that you see here, and also the pink portion within that. And the pink portion, as I mentioned, is the Trasnari, where all of the mobile living beings exist. And the universe is divided broadly into three parts. The lower portions are the seven hells, the Narki. The upper portions are the heavens, and we'll talk about the different heavens and stuff a little bit, but the main portion here that we are interested in is the middle portion, which is the Madhyalok, That is where we reside. That is where human beings reside. And just to give you a perspective on, what the size of the universe might be, the size is 14 rajjus. So in height, it's 14 rajjus, and a rajju is innumerable yojans, and a yojan innumerable yojans multiplied by 10 raised to the power of 14 divided by 7, and one yojan is 5,152 kilometers. So it's huge. And here is a cross section of the Madhyalok. The Madhyalok, this is not the complete Madhyalok. It expands even further than this, but just to, give a quick glimpse, this is what it looks like. What these concentric circles are called they are islands and then oceans around them. Islands and oceans, so concentric circles of islands and oceans. And in the center point is Mount Meru, which is the tallest mountain in the universe. And around the Mount Meru, surrounding the Mount Meru, is Jambudweep, which is the first island, which is where we reside. And we'll do a close-up further into this. So this is where these are the inner circles, just focusing on the inner circles. This is called the Adhidweep, 2.45 or 2.5 islands where human beings exist, and where you see the Pushkaravarth outside. That dweep, the Pushkaravarth island or the region, is divided into two, because only half of it, only in half of it do human beings exist. Outside of that, there are other living beings, but not human beings. Okay. And then we are going to go even zoom in further. Into Jambudweep, which is the innermost island, at the center of the universe, in the middle section. And this is where we are, in the Bharat Kshetra. Keep in mind, the Bharat Kshetra does not mean Bharat as in India. Okay, there's a lot of confusion in people's minds that Bharat Kshetra means India, and the confusion becomes, even more compounded because some of the names of these huge rivers, these rivers are almost like oceans. They are huge, surrounding the Bharat Kshetra. They are named as, Ganga and, the Sindhu, and therefore the confusion. But these are not the Ganga and Sindhu that we know about in India. These are even, so the Bharat Kshetra includes everything that we know as the earth right now, and more. Any questions so far? I'm sure there are lots of questions. Like, this doesn't look like anything we've seen before in geography, right? Anyone has any questions? No? Spellbound? All right. Go with me then. Okay. So I'll raise a question. We have Chandrayaan in the news, India's trying pretty hard to set their foot on the moon. And I do not quite understand why no one has set on their foot on the moon since the first time it was done, if it was done. Questions. According to science, the average distance between the Earth and the moon is, I have the number here in kilometers, and then you compare it to what the Agam talks about, the distance between the Earth or the Madhyalok and the moon. And the difference is humongous. So it's pretty huge. All I can say is that, we've had this lunisolar calendar for thousands of years. It has provided a lot of guidance to and prediction in terms of, voyages, ships going to other nations and all those things. travel, tide patterns, everything. So there is a science behind it. There is tremendous amount of math behind it. It's mind-boggling. And it is given to us by Keval Gnani Bhagwan. So all I would say is, if people are thinking they are going to the moon, they are probably going to some place and landing somewhere, but it's not the moon as it exists. So, and there are multiple moons according to our Keval Gnani Bhagwan. So it's not just one, many, many moons. And so, it does raise a question. That's all I would say right now. Lots of calculations going, lot of technology, and a lot of things involved in the current craze to go on the moon. But there is a vast difference in what is described as the moon according to our cosmology and what currently is understood by science. So I would give Bhagwan a benefit of doubt. Anyone else has any other doubts or counter questions or thoughts on this? No one? Wow, this is easy. Okay, all right. Okay, so we dive into the most important concept, and this is Pudgal Paravart. And I would really recommend everybody to pay attention because this is an important concept. If we were to divide the space of the entire universe, like place a graph paper over it and divide it into the smallest space points, you see these grid lines here, further narrowing them and making it into the finest space points that we can pinpoint. Let's say we have this all set up like that, and if I were to be born at, say, this space point here and die at this space point here, that would count as one. So we are talking about our journey in this entire universe. Okay, so that would count as one. Now, in my next birth, I'm born somewhere else, but I die at this space point right next to the one that I died at before. So that would count as two. And then in a similar fashion, if in consecutive births, if I were to, or in consecutive lifetimes, if I were to die at the consecutive space points right next to each other and complete this entire row and then go to the next one, and in that fashion complete the entire universe by dying at each and every space point, that would count as one Pudgal Paravat. Okay, and this we are talking only on the dimension of space. This is to understand it on the dimension of space. There are many other ways to understand Pudgal Paravat. This is the easiest one because it's easy to depict. We can talk about the others at some other point, but for our purposes, for the Lokswaroop Bhavna, this should be enough. So does this, everyone understands what one Pudgal Paravarth is? When one word, and there are, there is a lot of fine tuning here. In a very gross manner, it would be, one space point and then any other space point, and that way I fill the entire, check mark the entire universe. That would also count as one Pudgal Paravarth. But in a more finer way, if I had to look at it, it would be consecutive space points. Okay.
Just the amount of time that it would take.
Right.
That is called one Pudgal Paravat. So it's more like a depiction of time. And this is the amount of time we have spent in our past. More than one Pudgal Paravat. So you can imagine taking, dying at each and every space point, how much time that would take.
And so that this is one Pudgal Paravat. We have gone through Anant Pudgal Paravat, infinite times. And so you can imagine, the Maitri Bhav that we talk about in our Jain religion, right? We say Kamemi Savve Jiva Vikamantu Me, we say Michhami Dukram, and all those things, like verbally we say it, but this is what it means. We have been to each and every space point and died in each and every space point in this universe. And therefore, we have been related to Jeeves in each and every place in this entire universe. And therefore, it logically makes sense to have Maitri, to have love for all of them, because we are related to all of them. Now, hopefully this is clear. If anyone has any questions, let me know. When a Jeev progresses on the spiritual path, or at least has some inclination for it, that phase is called Mukti Advesh. And at that point, they would enter into what is called the last lap of this PP-thon, the Pudgal Paravart marathon. Okay, so the last lap is called Charmavart. That is the final time that they are going to go through. Of course, it's a long time, but this is the last one. So we'll talk a little bit more about these concepts. So when a Jeev dies on each and every space point, we talked about this, of the universe, this is one Pudgal Paravart. And the last lap is when the Jeev gets Mukti Advesh. So Mukti is liberation. And this inclination can also be understood as losing interest in samsaric pleasures. It's the same thing. Inclination to believe Kevali's words and the losing of interest in samsaric pleasures are the same thing, two sides of the same coin. And this came up, just recently in the Vachana of Yesho Vijay Maharaj Sahib, who is in Ahmedabad. So at that time, in this, phase of Charmavart, the person can get Samyak Darshan, which we have talked about several times. Samyak Darshan is the self-realization of who I am and aligning our belief system completely with that of the Kevali. At that point, once a person gets Samyak Darshan, then the maximum time they would have in this universe, going around, in the circle of life and death, would be a half lap, or the Pudgal Paravart. And it could be even sooner than that. That's the maximum time, because the births become finite and moksha is reserved at that point. Okay, so these are very important concepts. If everybody understood it, I can move on. Otherwise, if there are any clarifications needed, let me know. Anyone has any questions? Aditya? Do you remember it from Navtattva, or this all looks new?
I recognize it, yeah.
Okay, thank goodness. Okay.
I had a question. When a Jeev gets Mukti Advesh, is it then guaranteed that they will then eventually get Samyak Darshan?
Not necessarily. It could, there is a inclination, there is a possibility. So one has to, move in the right direction, and one has to also accept a guru's teachings and, accept Prabhu's Agna to get Samyak Darshan. So it would be an kind of an ongoing process. If we talked about Gunasthana, in the previous Bhavna, and this would be kind of like at the first Gunasthana, where they would have Mukti Advesh. So, the person can move forward or they can stay there. And, it's up to the person's circumstances and their choices that they make.
I think they would have to still get Samyak Darshan at some point. Otherwise, they wouldn't. If they were abhavi jeev, they would never get into Charmavart, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So they are bhavi jeevs at this point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
So Mukti Advesh is kind of like a starting point, you can think. Like even we typically mention Samyak Darshan as the gateway to moksha, but Mukti Advesh is even before that, and that is so it's kind of a little bit only a Kevali can say for sure if somebody has a Mukti Advesh or not, right? So it's like the words might seem pretty simple that, hey, we believe in, every one of us believe in Kevali's words. So therefore all of us are in Charmavart. So it's, from a positive point of view, it's good to think that all of us are in Charmavart. But at the same time, it's also been said that all of us have taken many diksha. So, we have done a lot of dharm before. So, if somebody takes diksha, then won't they have Mukti Advesh? So therefore, this is like a Mukti Advesh in the truest sense of the word. So therefore, it's a little bit deeper than just the surface meaning of it. But yeah, you are right. Because we are saying that they come in Charmavat, so therefore, after Mukti Advesh, at some point they will get Samyak Darshan. And after Samyak Darshan, even though we said maximum is like, that's the maximum time. But as we mentioned in the last session, I think, typically it's much less than that. It's like 3 lifetimes, 5 lifetimes, 10, 15. So that's very small amount of time compared to half Pudgal Paravarth, which is the maximum time.
Got it. Thank you. That's helpful.
Any other questions? Vishani, that was a good question. No? All right. So, what is wrong with going around in circles of birth and death, right? And what is wrong with traveling from one place to another? What is this, what is wrong with going everywhere and enjoying ourselves and, experiencing different places? Nothing wrong with it. Let's think about that and contemplate on that, because the behavior that we display sometimes is due to our infinite past and what we have done in the past, right? So let's watch a clip from the fourth.
Of birth, death, and rebirth, we have collected punya karma, drop by drop, to achieve this mad of love, or Shivad form. Indeed, it is much rarer than a Chakravarti's bhojan. I cannot waste this life.
Yes, Putra, but you have lived a luxurious life. You are not walked by foot. You have thousands of horses and chariots to ride to go from one place to another. How will you walk on foot? Our Munivars, they do not harm even a single bug or ant. You have all these continents to rule. You have not even visited each of them. As a Chakravarti, you should visit each continent every quarter. And once you have seen it all and done it all, then you can renounce the world.
Oh Mata Shri, it isn't just the eating of the sattvic bhojan or the protecting of tiny jeeves that make our Muni so great. It's the practice of Sayam, or the disciplining of the 5 senses that make them so great. And vacations? We have been on vacations our entire lives. Either bhago, udar bhago, all the time bhago. We have been there, done that, and seen it all. Since Anant Putkal Paravarth, we have been in search for that happiness. However, we have never been satisfied. We've never been satiated. And yet, that wanderlust, the thirst for newness, still persists within us. And the only way to overcome that thirst is through Shant Sudadas, the sweet nectar of prayer to Bhagwan that can truly quench our thirst.
शांत सुधारस पान तो भीत विनयमवन्तम् विनय विभावय शाश्वतम् विनय विभावय शाश्वतम् विनय विभावय शाश्वतम्
Anyone has any thoughts on this? Any comments on it? Is anyone
Anyone want
exhausted?
to tell which are the favorite places that they would like to visit in this summer vacation or in the coming Christmas vacation?
Not after what we told them. But, you know, we need to think about what is it that is driving us, right? Life itself is stressful. And so, you know, we go on a vacation to relax. And then we come back where, you know, we feel like, oh my God, now I need to catch up with everything. So I need another vacation. And, you know, the cycle just goes on and on. What really needs to happen is for us to think about what is it, where is it that I can get my peace of mind, right? And, you know, Vinay Vijayji Maharaj Sahib says that it can be, it's not available anywhere else except for the teachings of Bhagwan. And those are enough to rejuvenate us. Those are enough to refresh us and, you know, really fill us with energy.
Of birth.
Sorry about that. And we've talked about why, you know, it's related to what we have discussed before in the Sansar Bhavna, where, you know, we are constantly trying to seek happiness outside of us and just looking in the wrong place. Also, Labdi Vallabh Maharaj Sahib constantly mentions that it is due to our apurnata, or this feeling that we are not complete, and we are constantly trying to compare ourselves with other people, other things, other, you know, situations, and, you know, constantly feeling like we'll be missing out on stuff, and that is driving this type of behavior.
What's the JOMO part? Then
Uh,
FOMO, probably people are familiar.
Joy of missing out. So there can be a joy of missing out where, you know, you can disconnect, and that would be Sambar Bhavna, where we disconnect from everything. And Rishi and Harsh did that when they went for their Updhan experience. And, you know, they shared with everyone here how fulfilling it was. So it's something that we need to give it a try, right? Because we're constantly in this mindset of, you know, this is how one can enjoy, this is how one can have fun. Give the other side a try. And what is really driving all of this? A lot of it is social media. A lot of it is, you know, people posting their pictures of where they traveled, you know, on Instagram and Facebook and wherever else people are these days. And constantly, you know, you feel like, oh, you know, this looks better, this looks better. But, you know, if we take the perspective of the Lokswaroop Bhavna and understand that we've really actually been everywhere and not once, infinite times, then, you know, this thirst, this constant, you know, unhappiness and incompleteness would not bother us. Recently, this sports psychologist mentioned that the mind is a traveler. And that's another perspective to take, where we're conditioned so much to constantly be on the run that even when we are in meditation or trying to focus, we are constantly, you know, bhago everywhere, right? Constantly running away from ourselves. What is it that is driving that type of behavior, even like at the brain level, at the neuron firing level? It's the same thing that we have done over and over and over and over again. So unless we, you know, break this mindset, we're not going to be able to experience the happy place, which is, you know, we've talked about that, we've heard about that several times, Siddhshila. It's really not about the place, it's more about the mindset. Karma particles, as we have mentioned, are in the entire universe. They are packed from top to bottom, and even in Siddhshila. But it's the the disconnect that the souls, the Siddha Bhagwan, have made from all of their karmas and themselves, which keeps them happy at all times and not affected by all of these other things. So and this is a picture of, just a depiction of the Siddhashila. We'll go on a journey in our meditation today to Siddhashila and try to experience the peace that Siddha Bhagwan have there. Does anyone have any questions so far? Anything else? Any comments? Yes, Harsh.
I mean, you mentioned that we can leverage the Lokswaroop Bhavna to change our mindset, but I mean, how to deal with our inner drive that vacation gives me peace of mind, happiness. So, I mean, that is also in my experience. And Bhagwan says something else, like we are in the vacations in every life. We die, we get a birth at different place. So we are continuously in a vacation mode, but we are not quenched. So how to connect those two dots here?
Right. So I think first of all, we need to evaluate whether, we are really getting the happiness there, at the vacation. It feels good, but as we have said before, happiness which, where you have to work hard to take that vacation. First, you have to take a lot of pain to actually take a vacation. And then when you come back from the vacation, more pain. There's like so much laundry to be done, so many emails to catch up on, it's just even worse than when you went. So, is that really giving you happiness? And if it were giving you happiness, then why do you need to go again? Or let's say if you were to stay at the place where you went to vacation, is that going to give you happiness? No. I ask the people who live there, right? In Hawaii right now.
So people from Hawaii want to come to like New York or Niagara Falls to have their vacation, and people in Niagara Falls want to go to Hawaii to have their vacation. So it's really all we are doing is basically changing, because mind likes changes and mind gets bored by the same stimulus. So you're just feeding mind different stimulus, and that's all it is. So therefore, it's not really, there's no nothing to be gained as such except
and what
karmas.
what will happen, like, if you made it a habit to go on vacation to relax constantly, that's your place to relax, that's your place to relax. You work hard, you go on vacation, you come back, you work hard again, you go on vacation, and the whole life goes like that. You grow old, and then you cannot go on vacation anymore. Then what is your situation at that point when you've made that, a habit? Then it's suffering, only suffering, because, oh, I cannot go there now, right? So that's what you need to think about, I think. And we'll delve a little bit more into that, I hope, with our meditation.
Yeah, thank you.
One question from Moksha, whether Siddhsheela is same as Mokslok. So I've not heard the term Mokslok, but we in the picture we have depicted Siddhalok. So it's kind of, I would say it's probably the same.
Nice name, Moksha. He's asking the question. Okay.
So again, the important thing to remember is that a lot of us, once we hear about Siddhsheela, we kind of are tempted to make this mistake that, hey, happiness is in Siddhsheela. So happiness is not in Siddhsheela. It's more like happy people have the visa to go to Siddhsheela. So we have to be happy here first, meaning get rid of all of our karmas.
Right.
And then we get to go to Siddhsheela.
So that's actually, this is what happens. So when the soul is not weighed down by any karmas, automatically the soul rises up. We rise up all the way to the top of the universe, and you stop at the part where there is, Lokakash ends. And beyond that, there is no life. One very common mistake that people make, and it's sad because there's just not that much tattvic understanding that Siddh Bhagwan, they don't have a body, so they are no longer living. No, they are living beings. They are living. They are the
Living to the fullest.
fullest, exactly. So keep that in mind. But that is just basically, the soul moving to the top of the universe because of, there is no weighing down from the karmas anymore. Okay. So Siddhshila, we constantly, and we also make Sathyo and Derasar, we are constantly, that's a drawing reminding us every day, this is our purpose in life. This is our journey. We are on this journey. Let's not stop at this, place where we are not going to get to our destination if we are at the rest area forever. So I don't know if that answers your question, Moksha, and that clear.
So Siddhashila is where the god lives, the Tirthankar Bhagwan.
Right. So all of I think we had posted on the group before, but the difference between, Arihant Bhagwan and Siddh Bhagwan. Arihant Bhagwan or Tirthankar Bhagwan are those that are in the, the Madhya Lok.
2.5
And yes, in the 2.5 islands, and they have a body, still have a body, and till the end of their life, they would continue to, give deshna and share the experience that they've had. And after that, they become Siddh, where they don't have a body anymore, but they are still alive and they have their own identity. And each one of them has their own identity. And there have been infinite, Tirthankars in the past and will be in the future too. Only in the present time, they are numerable. So all of them are in Siddhshila. So right now, Rishabdev Bhagwan all the way up to Mayur Swami Bhagwan, they are all in Siddhshila right now. And also other Kevli Bhagwans like, Gautam Swami, Sudharma Swami, all of them.
Got it. Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. If you have any further questions or any doubt, let us know. Okay. And you can also post on the group. So that can help clarify better.
Yep.
Okay. So the qualities, since we're talking about Siddh Bhagwan, the qualities of Siddh Bhagwan are Anant Gnan, Anant Darshan, Avyabad Sukh, Anant Charitra, Akshay Sthiti, Arupitva, Guru Lagutva, and Anant Virya. And, the most important one is the eternal happiness that defines them. So Gnan and Anand are, if you had to just give two as the major qualities of the soul, it would be Gnan and Anand. So let's go on this journey to the Siddhshila. And we would be doing our meditation with that. So please sit in a comfortable position, cross-legged if possible. And close your eyes. We are going to do, before you close your eyes actually, just want to let you know, we will be doing a jap, Siddha Siddhim Mama Disantu. Okay, so these are the words. If you know them, you can, repeat when I start the jap. If you don't, you can just listen. So close your eyes, back straight, and take a few deep breaths. And imagine the Chaud Rajlok as you breathe in from your navel all the way up to your Siddhshila, which is the top of your head. Imagine your breath going through the entire Chaud Rajlok, and then breathe out. Imagine the Narkis below, in all of the hells, tremendous amount of suffering. pain, horrific scenes, at the same time, in the Madhyalok, Manushyalok, the middle part of the universe, lot of activity. People are busy, running around, doing their daily chores constantly. All of these are karma bhumis. Everybody's working hard. And then on top of that are the Devloks. And right on top is the Siddhashila. So we will take this mind's Viman and traverse all the way on the top. Continue deep breaths as you concentrate. And get ready for this journey. "790 yojan above our earth, we are going into the Tara Mandal, the stars. From there, very swiftly, 10 yojan above the Tara Mandal is the Surya Viman, the sun god's vehicle, bright and shiny. We continue our journey upward. 80 yojan above the Surya is the Chandra Viman, the moon god's vehicle. 4 yojan above that is the Nakshatra, the zodiac signs, the star constellations. We continue our journey upward. We pass Mercury. We pass Venus. Above that is the Guru star, Bruhaspati or Jupiter. And even above that is the Mars, Mangal star. And finally, the Saturn, Sanishchar star. We have traversed 900 yojan above the Prithvi in this entire Jyotish chakra. It looks beautiful, it's illuminating. The stars and the planets, the moon, the sun, all of them are shining brightly. This looks like a beautiful belt of the entire Chaudraj Lok. We don't stop here. We continue to rise higher and higher and higher. Innumerable Kora Kori yojan above this is the 12 Vaimanic Devloks. All of these 12 Devloks consist of Devs who are extremely beautiful, who have lots of pleasures all around them. Huge, huge vehicles and palaces. But we don't stop here, we will go even higher. Continue deep breaths. Innumerable Kora Kori yojan above these 12 Vaimanic Devlok are the 9 Graivik Devloks. And then even above that, innumerable Kora Kori yojan above the Graivik are the Anuttar Viman Devloks. This Devlok is the closest to the Siddhashila. Vijay, Vaijayant, Jayant, Aparajit, and then finally Sarvat Siddh, which is the fifth Anuttar Viman Devlok. From this Anuttar Viman Devlok, the Sarvat Siddh, from the flag of this Devlok, if we were to go 12 yojan higher, there is the Mukti Siddhashila. We cannot go there, so we stand at the flag post of this Anuttar Viman Devlok and gaze upward at this beautiful white Siddhashila. This Siddhashila is 4,500,000 yojan in length and height. It has an area of 7,230,000 yojans. It is 8 yojan wide in the middle and gets progressively thinner and thinner at the ends, as thin as the wings of a housefly. It is shaped upside down like an umbrella or like a crescent moon. It is as white as the Panchayan conch shell. It is made of Arjun gold, white gold, and the rock is compressed solid like one piece. The surface is infinite times smoother and softer to touch than the flowers of mustard, or even softer than butter. It is infinite times more fragrant than the flowers of Jai, Jui, Chameli, Champa, Mogra, Kevada, Ketki, Malti, Gulab. All of these extremely fragrant flowers are no match to this fragrance. Even more fragrant than saffron, sandalwood, and musk. And if we were to go 1 yojan above this beautiful Siddhashila, on the 1/6, last 1/6 part, there the Siddh Bhagwan reside, pure souls. They do not have any form, no color, no taste, no odor, and they are indestructible. Their invisible shape is 2/3 the size of their last body before they became Siddh. In one space point of the Siddhashila, infinite Siddh Bhagwan can reside. They are at this highest point of the Chaudrajlok, almost touching the Alok outside of the universe. There is no birth here, no old age, no death, no disease, no sorrow, no hunger, no thirst. No one is a supervisor or a subordinate here. There are no relationships, but also no separations. No karma bandh. There is no body. And they experience infinite bliss at all times. The souls have reached this state of Siddh infinite times in the past, and they have been innumerable in the present, but will be infinite in the future. They are infinite on the dimension of Dravya, and they are spread across the 4,500,000 yojan on the dimension of space. They are eternal on the dimension of time. They will always be there. and on the dimension of bhav or reality, they are colorless, odorless, tasteless. They cannot be touched or felt, and they don't have a visible shape. And finally, on the dimension of gun, of experience or qualities, they have infinite knowledge, infinite perception, and they are always experiencing bliss in their own true nature. To such Siddh Bhagwan, I bow down and ask for forgiveness for any wrongdoing that challenges or questions their Keval Gnan, their Keval Darshan. Any of my wrong thoughts, words, or behavior that were done in their eternal presence, I ask forgiveness for that. O Siddh Bhagwan, show me the path to end this non-stop labyrinth of Anant Putkal Paravarth. Help me experience myself not as this perishable body, but as you, as the eternal pure self, with no hunger, no thirst, no mental agony, no attachments, no desires, but filled with infinite knowledge and overflowing with bliss and peace. And such bliss and peace that I can share with this entire universe, this entire Chaudraj Lok, with each and every living being. O Siddh Bhagwan, help me become Siddh. Siddha Siddhim Mama Disantu. Siddha Siddhim Mama Disantu. Siddha Siddhim Mama Disantu.
Siddha Siddhim Mama Disantu.
Siddha Siddhim Mama Disantu.
Siddha Siddhim Mama Disantu.
Siddha Siddhim Mama Disantu.
Siddha Siddhim Mama Disantu.
Siddha Siddhim Mama Disantu.
Siddha Siddhim Mama Disantu.
Siddha Siddhim Mama Disantu.
Siddha Siddhim Mama Disantu.
Siddha Siddhim Mama Disantu.
Siddha Siddhim Mama Disantu.
Siddha Siddhim Mama Disantu.
Siddha Siddhim Mama Disantu.
Siddha Siddhim Mama Disantu.
Siddha Siddhim Mama Disantu.
Siddha Siddhim Mama Disantu.
Siddha Siddhim Mama Disantu.
Siddha Siddhim Mama Disantu.
Siddha Siddhim Mama Disantu.
Siddha Siddhim Mama Disantu.
Siddha Siddhim Mama Disantu.
Now continue this japa in your mind as you focus on your Agna Chakra between your eyebrows where you do the tilak, and let the japa of Siddha Siddhim Mama Disantu resound within you. No other thoughts, no distractions, only the internal chanting of Siddha Siddhim Mama Disantu. O Siddh Bhagwan, help me become Siddh. Show me the way. Siddha Siddhim Mama Disantu. Just continue the japa in your mind for 2 minutes. No distractions, complete focus on the japa. Continue to imagine the Chaudraj Lok on your Agna Chakra, and on top of that Rajlok is the Siddhashila, and on top of the Siddhashila, the Siddh Bhagwan that you are requesting to, that you are praying to. Siddha Siddhim Mam Visantu. One more minute. Continue to focus on your Agna Chakra. And now, complete concentration on the Agna Chakra and let go even of the Jap mantra. Force a smile on your face while you keep your eyes closed and focus on the Agna Chakra. Smile. Experience the bliss of being you. Don't listen to the body trying to tell you to move. Don't listen to the mind. None of those are you. It might be difficult, and if there is a distraction, just take a deep breath in between. If you feel like moving, you can move a little bit and then stabilize yourself back again. Bring your mind back to the Agna Chakra. Remember to smile. Two more minutes. Deep breaths. Just hold the experience. Don't get distracted. Bring back yourself to yourself. Now you may slowly open your eyes. Siddha Siddhim Mama Disantu. Siddha Siddhim Mama Disantu. Siddha Siddhim Mama Disantu. If I said anything against Jinagna, if I made any mistakes, this was a very technical bhavna, a lot of details here. So if I made any mistakes, Michhami Dukram. And we will end here. Shivamastu sarva jagata parahit nirta bhavantu bhutagana dosha prayantu nasham sarvatra sukhi bhavantu lokaha sarva mangala mangalyam sarva kalyana karanam Pradhanam sarvadharmanam jainam jayati shashanam. Jai Jinendra.